Hello and welcome to the Irish Arsenal GOONER podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles. As always, it's Monday, the 20th of March. I'm joined by my seasonal guests at this stage of the show. In our second year now as a podcast, I'm happy to say. I'm joined this week by Ian Gunnery, a late call up due to Brendan not making it. Thanks, Ian. How are you?
Good to be here. Straight off a bench.
Brendan will be making a donation to our podcast at the end of the show. he couldn't hack it after last week. Too much pressure, Ozzy, because you couldn't make it, unfortunately. I'm also joined by Ozzy, as we all know. Carl Osborne, how are you, Ozzy?
Oh, good, mate. Good to be back.
Thanks for coming back on again. And as always, our resident, who am I guest? Who are you this week, Eamon?
Evening, Jonathan. Evening, Carl. Evening, Ian there. I was watching Opportunity Knocks earlier on there. Piper Lice were on with Billy Don't Be a Hero. I thought it was about Billy Bremner. Billy Bremner there. I used to say to Billy, give me the ball. Give me the ball, Billy. If everybody listened to me, Billy, everything be okay. Evening, lads. How we doing? All right?
Cracking, mate.
Doing all good. Doing all good.
It wouldn't be a show without Eamon on it. That's for sure. Thanks for joining me, lads, as always, this week. Our last show before the international break. You can catch our show, as always, on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel, and also on Spotify, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Also, check out Pat McLaughlin and co at joesarsel.com and Joe Sarsel vids. Really good content. They add daily. I check it out daily myself. So hopefully they stick our video on tomorrow, lads, since I gave you the plug there. No, it's really good, and they're over 1,000 subscribers now. So congrats to them. And glad we could help the nine. Let's make a donation on our page. Thanks for our sponsor, clubgolf.co.uk. Use DubArsel10 for a 10% discount. And as always, catch all the matches throughout the season in the official supporters bar, the River Bar in Dublin City Centre. I think we'll all agree it's been rocking this season, lads. And hopefully, Ozzy, we'll see you there for Liverpool in a couple of weeks' time.
Fingers crossed. Getting pressure from Richard now to come along. So yeah, he's got the sign off from the wife. So yeah, I'm under pressure now to deliver.
Come on, Richard. He's a dick.
I knew there was something coming there. If Ozzy's listening, are you listening? Ozzy says he behaved himself over the weekend.
No, I said I'll bring a little dick with me. Yeah.
Ozzy doesn't understand the word behaved.
Here we go. We're starting now, lads.
Start recording. Oh, no. Has it been
What's it?
What's up, Johnny? We're recording, mate.
Last week's stats: 61 views, 3 likes, and 2,890 subscribers. So yeah, look, we were at 2,880 for a week, so hopefully we get over the 3,000 mark over the next couple of weeks, and it'd be great, you know. On this week's show, as always, we'll be reviewing yesterday's 4-1 home win over CyrstalPalace. Golden Player of the Month for March. And at the end of the show, a review of the season so far, as it's the international break. So plenty of talking points over the next half hour or so. 4-1 yesterday, lads. 2 goals by Saka, Martinelli and Xhaka. And Jeffrey Slope got the consolation there for Crystal Palace to make it 3-1. I suppose 14 goals in March over the 4 games, which was quite nice. Gets the goal difference down to about, I think we're only 2 off City now, I think. So that's the main 8 points clear, of course. City have a game in hand, but it's nice to have 8 points going back into the last 10 games of the season. I suppose the talking points from yesterday in terms of the first half, Zaha and Edward had 2 early chances, which were well saved by Ramsdale. So if they had scored first, it could have been edgy after the defeat to Lisbon on Thursday. But I thought Martinelli and Saka terrorised Joel Ward and Tyreek Mitchell on the wings. Ben White had a great game. His passing was really superb, and the ball through to Saka for the second goal was just brilliant, just class. For probably my man of the match, maybe, you know. I thought he played really that well. Patrick Vieira being sacked, obviously, last week didn't help Palace, but they came out fighting, in fairness to them. Another Paddy McCarthy was the manager of Palace yesterday, but sadly, we were expected to win and we won comfortably. I was a bit nervous after the game on Thursday, in fairness, but I thought we played really well. We came out fighting. Once the force went in, I think we all felt that there was going to be a few more, and that's what happened. Trossard's ball into Saka for the third goal was brilliant. Just the pass and the movement for that goal was exceptional. Poor marking, I thought, from Gabriel and Trossard, Odegaard, for Palace's goal. But Tierney's layoff for Saka was class for the fourth. Glimpses of Rocky in Bukayo Saka, I'm seeing more and more. And Ramsdale saved well from OZZY near the end. So that's 5 wins now in a row. 6 wins since that City defeat in mid-February. Or 5th, is it? 6, yeah. So look, we can't complain really. I didn't expect it at all, you know, but we've come back really since that City game. 8 points clear and another home win and 14 goals in March. Happy days. I go to you, Eamon. How did you see the game yesterday?
Well, the first thing that struck me was I was really impressed with the energy we showed after Thursday night. The first thing, and it was obvious from the first 20 minutes. In the lead up to the second goal, for 10 minutes down that right hand side, we were relentless. Wilfried Zaha has hurt us so many times, but he spent his day chasing Bukayo Saka. And the combination between White and Saka was unbelievable. Granit Xhaka, my God, I was there on the dark day when he walked off the pitch, being substituted and got booed. Well, my God, how he's turned things around. He was unbelievable yesterday. He looked as if he could have played another game after. He had that much energy. The Palace goal would be the only kind of fault line of having the performance. And Martin Odegaard should never, ever, ever again be placed defending a set piece.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant player, but he's not robust enough for that. He gets knocked over. That's the 4th goal this season that we conceded, with Martin Odegaard not being able to do his stuff. He should stand on the halfway line as an out ball. On an opposition corner, he stands on the halfway line and somebody else goes in and does what he's supposed to do. It was a bit of a calamitous goal. Rob Holding came in. He's only played 1 Premier League game this season. And to be fair to him, stuck with the squad and the singularity of purpose that the squad has. And really, he was on the front foot the whole time. The big worry about Rob, of course, is when somebody runs through and he doesn't have the pace, but I thought he did really well. We have 69 points. That would have got us into the Champions League last year.
Yeah.
And we've 10 games to spare. So if anybody wants to talk about the trajectory we're on, that's it. I thought Saka and Martinelli tortured Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Absolutely tortured Crystal Palace. And they say, like, the Brazilians know everything. How in the name of God they put Richarlison ahead of Martinelli in the World Cup? It's just an absolute lucky bag fizz bomb. It's hilarious. Martinelli is a worldie. Saka is a worldie. The way Martinelli shifted that ball onto his weaker left foot and just decided he knew what he was doing straight away. It was unbelievable. So we have a 10-game sprint left. After we play Leeds, it's down into single figures. And this is seriously game on. Man City got Bayern Munich in the Champions League. That is going to ask them serious questions. It's not Burnley in the FA Cup. It's Bayern Munich, who I think will win the Champions League, by the way. That will ask them serious questions. Couple of other things. What in the name of God has gone with VAR? The 2 goals were clearly onside. It's almost as if Paul Dorkin has come out of his past and sat up there in Manchester saying, I hate Emmanuel Petit and I'm going to keep this going. And I'm going to get VAR checks for everything Arsenal. We never get penalties. We never get anything. But the VAR checks yesterday, it was almost as if they're trying to chuck off the goals.
Yeah.
And even though the goals were clearly onside. And the last thing I'll say about the game is Kieran Tierney to come on after having no minutes, pull the ball back to Saka, and the reaction of the team to Kieran Tierney when he did that just tells you everything you need to know about this Arsenal. This is a serious team going places. And obviously we're going to lose the next 10 games. Because we all know this. But I have to say, this is a serious team under a serious manager and serious coaching staff doing serious things. And it was a great day yesterday. That's my sum up.
Yeah, you're a man of the match, Eamon. Who
Ben White.
Yeah, Ben White. Yeah,
All day long.
Yeah, exceptional, wasn't he? And that says a lot considering Martinelli and Saka had really great games yesterday as well, hadn't they?
Well, I thought about Ben White. That 15 minutes before we got that second goal, Ben White actually drove Arsenal on for that 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He drove Arsenal on, you know, and he, above any other player, wanted that second goal, get in at half-time, 2-0 up. We're not screwing this up, you know. And he, not only his willingness, and his willingness going backwards as well, but his perception of passing.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Speech, yeah. Like to think he wanted to become a gardener. He can do a good job in the Emirates any day.
Yeah.
No, he's just so calm on the ball, though. And like he sees a pass, you know, it's just incredible. Yeah. What kind of epitomised him was it was actually the lead up to the Palace goal, but the way he went through the player, I think it was Mitchell. He just went through him, you know, and got the ball. It's just incredible. Just
before I go over to Carl and Ian, I was talking to a mate of mine from the same area as me, a fella called David O'Leary, and he said, as I say, we won the game. Get on with it. Get on with it.
Yeah. Like that, yeah, that could have been a potential tricky game against Palace, but we came through it, you know.
We get on with it,
yeah. It's another one chalked off and another 3 points, yeah. Carl, were you at the game yesterday? How did you see it?
Yeah, I was at it. I gotta be honest, like talking about the atmosphere there. Start of the game, it was quite nervy. I don't know if you picked it up on TV, but it was very, very nervous in the Emirates. I was there the Thursday night against Sporting. I'm not going to go too much into that, but it's quite buzzing on the Thursday night, and it was actually surprised me for a Europa game how good it was. But yeah, the contrast compared to the Palace game, it was really nervy, and you could sense it all in the concourse. You could sense that everyone was nervous about this game. And really, it started off a bit nervy as well, didn't it? Like, you look at that Zaha chance, and I think Arsene Wenger always used to talk about small margins, but the way it ricocheted off the back of Ramsdale and could have gone in the back of the net, I think we got very fortunate with that, and that might have changed the sort of course of the game. Certainly where all the fans were feeling. But again, this side, we keep coming back, don't we? We look at the Fulham game, we played brilliant, lost to Sporting. Most teams get knocked down, but we keep coming back. And sums it up for me. Martinelli missed a penalty on the Thursday night. Young lad. What's he do? He scores a bit of a worldie for me. I thought the way he switched his body, and put that in the bottom corner. You know, for a player to do that a few days after playing 120 minutes and missing the key penalty, says a lot about this team. And I think that's throughout that team. That shows the character they've got, the steel they've got. And we talk about the end of last season. I think this made this team. I think that made this team. I don't think we'd have seen the team like this hungry and show this much fight had we not have had the bad end of last season. We said that all along. The documentary is a tough watch, but you could see it hurt them. And I think that's showing through every time we do this comeback. We're not letting it happen again. And I think we're going to push City all the way. Whether we do it or not, I don't know. You know what? If we don't do it, I don't care now. I'm going to stand there and clap them players off that pitch against Wolves, because I tell you what, they've done us proud already this season. I just hope they can push them all the way. So yeah, looking through the team, I thought I'm going to say Ben White. I'm going to say man of match. Really, he was brilliant. He was his best game in an Arsenal shirt, I think. His passing was absolutely fantastic. And it's an absolute tragedy that he's not in that England squad. When you've got people like Eric Dyer, it's unbelievable. What has he got to do to get in that England squad? But you know, just looking through, you know, I think Elise and Zaha, they are quite dangerous, but if they weren't given, they were too busy trying to, like Eamon said, sort out Martinelli and Saka. They needed support there, so they couldn't be dangerous. I thought Elise, I quite liked him actually. I was quite impressed by him, but when he was going forward, but like I say, most of the time they weren't. They were defended. So yeah, you know, Eamon's covered a lot of points in there. I think Granit Xhaka was fantastic. I thought Odegaard was fantastic. Thomas Partey ruled out midfield. And I'm going to give, you know, a bit of a credit to Rob Holding. I think Rob Holding in isolation in this team can do a job. I think Rob Holding we've seen this season is when there's 5 or 6 changes to the 11. He's one of the lead guys in that team at that point. He's one of the leaders. And you see a different Rob Holding. But put him in this side, and I think he looks pretty well. He don't look too out of place. I think he's got his limitations. I think you put him up against Haaland, it's a different story. I think, but, you know, Crystal Palace was his level, and he done the job. And you know, I think he can do a job against Leeds, and I'm not overly concerned. If he buys time till Saliba gets back, then I'd be confident in him. But after that, yeah, great performance. And actually, I asked one of the guys behind me. I said, "What's the greatest comeback at the Emirates this season? Is it Granit Xhaka's relationship with the fans, or Rob Holding's hairline?" Did you see what he looks like? He looks like a Jack Grealish. He's got an Alice band in there. You know,
I'd imagine, Carl. I'd imagine if Ken Barlow had his time all over again, he could have gone for one of those looks. You know,
he could have had an Alice band, can't he, Ken Barlow?
Where's my hairband, Deirdre?
but honestly, Rob Holding, he's brilliant. So no, a bit of an ode to him. I thought he was good on the day.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, and we said about Kieran Tierney as well. I thought a chap I was with, Tim, on the day, a good friend of mine, and we were saying we used to use the terminology in the 90s when fullbacks did that, but he used to bomb on. And that's all Kieran Tierney did when he came on. He kept on bombing on down those wings and really attacking them. And he played with he's quite ferocious, I think, down that left-hand side. And he was a different Kieran Tierney, what I've seen lately. So something's changed there. But he wants to be part of this, I think. And you could really see that in his performance. There's two more things I'm going to say about the crowd before I move over to Ian, but I thought the crowd were fantastic for singing Patrick Vieira songs.
Yeah.
I don't know if that came through on TV, but that was probably the loudest songs of the day. You know, it was quite nice to give him a bit of support there, and I can imagine that got a smile from him when he was watching it on TV, if he was. And then finally, Eamon touched on it. VAR absolutely killing celebrations. There's at least two of those goals I couldn't celebrate because you just knew it was going to VAR. It kind of killed the atmosphere a little bit. It's got to stop. They've got to stop.
Clearly onside, Carl.
Yeah,
like,
well,
on the naked eye, they were clearly onside. So what's the VAR all about? You know,
I know, like people watching it on TV, like they get benefit of a replay straight away, don't they? As well, like we could tell it weren't offside from where we were sat, you know, and we was guessing, well, what else has happened? What else has happened? And then it takes a few minutes to come through because we could, you know, they were so obvious goals. We couldn't actually work out why they were going to VAR for until it came up on the screen.
Well, I've actually developed a theory on this today. I think VAR is at the Rovers' return. Like it's a Manchester thing, you know. Like base pot and a bit of VAR. Why not? You know. Seriously, there's no other explanation.
No. Honestly, it was shocking. But yeah, look, you know, we got 3 points. I think we're in a very good position. We kept on saying, I think on this podcast, said 10 games to go. If we're still top of 10 games to go, well, here we are with 10 games to go, and we're still top. We kept on saying that, didn't we, at the start of the season? You know, but yeah, it is 10 games to go, and once we played Leeds, it'll be 9. And I've just proved I can count. But yeah. But yeah, you know.
Wouldn't you love to see before the end comes in? Wouldn't you love to see? You know the way it comes up: decision, goal allowed. Wouldn't you love to see VAR put a sock in it, Barlow? Goal allowed. It's a nonsense. You know.
I think VAR is just used more nearly for the controversy of it now. You know, just for the sake of it, they just throw it in. Here, look. Throw it in there. The game's been quiet.
Well, let's not turn football into a reality program, because I'll tell you what, if I start doing
it's ruining the game. It's absolutely ruining the game.
But every single goal we get is going to VAR, you know?
Yeah. I don't think it's helping the game. If anything, it's prolonging it for no reason, you know?
Yeah.
You know.
One of the reasons, in fairness now, all joking aside, one of the reasons why all our goals are going to VAR is because of how quick we pass the ball in tight spaces, you know?
Yeah, and that's true, Eamon, actually, the lines can't keep up, which is refreshing to see, sorry, Ian, you've been waiting a while to come in. How did you see the game yesterday?
Yeah, no, look, I thought we played very well, especially, I suppose, such a quick turnaround after playing over 120 minutes on Thursday night. Like, I think it just goes to show the fitness levels that's there, and like that was a massive kind of, I suppose, statement to a lot of Arsenal haters, as I would say, that say that we don't have the squad, we don't have the fitness levels to keep up with City. I think that rightly shut them up. Being honest, I think it showed there that we've just as much fitness as City have for the games that we have to play. I do think, look, I think before I kind of go into the Palace game, I do think it's a blessing in disguise going out of Europa League. Like, yes, you won a European Cup, but I look at that draw and I see what our run-in would have been mixed in with the likes of having to play Juventus back-to-back and then possibly Man United. Like, I mean, like, I can't imagine how we would have grasped that, trying to mix league games into that then as well. So, look, I think fitness-wise, I think it's definitely going to, for the last 10 games, going to kind of do us a lot of favours being out of it, really. But in terms of the Palace game, I think Saka had a really great game. Trossard just can't seem to do anything wrong. I think he's been probably the fastest player we've signed that's just kicked off and hit the ground running. Especially like when you think, like, you'd swear we signed him in the summer, how quickly he's gelled. Like, you have to nearly pinch yourself and just think he's only joined since January, and he feels like he's been there for years. Like, he's just an absolutely superb player. I can't fault him. Ben White, oh my God, what an absolute performance he had as well. And I don't think sometimes he gets the credit he deserves. Like, from Arsenal fans, he does. But I think outside of Arsenal, like, as you can see, him not being picked for England, I think is an absolute joke. I think, like, I mean, it says a lot when the likes of Harry Maguire still getting picked for England over Ben White. Like, I'm like, come on, do you know what I mean? Like, it's an absolute travesty. Like,
it is, yeah. It's gone beyond a joke.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, look, we took the goals well. I think Martinelli's goal was brilliant. I'm not sure if you've seen a video of Ramsdale. Ramsdale was nearly kicking the ball in himself before it even hit the net. I love that. Like, that was brilliant to see. I think Saka's second goal was so important. Because you could see when Palace scored, I'm sure, Ozzy, you probably felt it in the Emirates. Like, the mood started to kind of change a bit. Like, you're thinking, oh no, here we go again. Like, it's gonna be kind of squeaky bum time, as they call it. Like,
yeah.
But I think that third goal just kind of sealed the deal. Then you could see Palace heads kind of drop then. But look, I Palace are no easy team to play either. Like, I know, like, winning 4-1, you kind of say, oh look, that's like, it's only Palace, it's a walk in the park. But we've seen the games that we've had against Palace over the years, and they'll give anyone a good game. So, like, I mean, it's a credit to Arsenal at the end of the day for the professional performance that they did, especially so quickly after such a long period of time on Thursday. But look, I think overall, my man of the match is Ben White. It's just like full house, really. To be honest, I can't really give it to anybody else. I think he was absolutely superb. He does the simple stuff well, the hard stuff really, really well. And I think it's very hard. Like, I think there's very few performances all season that you could really have too much negativity to say about him. And I think Rob Holding, as the lads mentioned as well, I definitely think he needs a mention too. I mean, I know when we see Rob Holding go on in games, we're thinking, oh no, like, why is he coming on at this time? Like, but like, look, can he do that every single week? Probably not. But at the end of the day, you take it game by game, as a wise Eamon always says. And like, in the game that we were in, he done the work that was required of him to do. So I can't fault him for that. But look, I think with the running coming in, I think it's a massive 3 points. I mean, we're 8 points clear. Where, okay, City have a game in hand, but look, I swing it back to last season, and we were the ones that had games in hand. And I tell you now, after seeing the way last season went, I will take points on the board over games in hand any day of the week.
Yeah, 100%. Who was your man of the match? 38 yesterday.
Ben White. Yeah.
Yeah, another throw to Ben White as well. I thought he had a great game. Yeah. A foot clean sweep with us. I thought Wackham Anderson was a big loss to Palace pre-match as well. He cost. Sorry?
So what?
He was a big loss to them.
Yeah, but so what? Saliba was a big loss to us. So what?
Yeah, it's Saliba. He's okay, but he's a lot to prove still. I still prefer Rob Holding over him just because of the hairband. No, look, hopefully Saliba isn't out too long. You know, I don't know when he'll be back. Has there been a due date back?
I'm going to give Gus Caesar a ring.
Well,
be available. Jonathan's worried about Rob Holding. Give Gus Caesar.
To be honest, it's a good thing Rob Holding did play well, though, because Tommy Assey's out for
and you don't even know who Gus Caesar is. Check him out, mate. You know.
I will. After the show, I'll check it out. You have me where
he played for Shamrock Rovers in the 80s. Great player.
Yeah, you say about
Gus Caesar actually played in the 1988 League Cup final for the Arsenal at centre back against Luton. Yeah.
I don't think there's even a player called that.
No, Gus. I'm not talking about Julius Caesar now. I'm talking about Gus Caesar. It kind of moved at the same pace.
It's another P45 for him.
I'm just taking out my Gus Caesar question now out of my
managed to
quiz. Who played centre half?
All about, you know.
Who plays centre half? Gus Caesar or Julius Caesar? I've got to take it out of the quiz now. Cheers, Eamon. Thanks, mate. Just ruining my content. I spent all night on that.
Jordan the Emirates tournaments, me and Eamon used to play. It might as well have been Julius Caesar.
Yeah, well, Jonathan, you were in goal there. You went down like a roll of lino.
Yeah. Bernard Lino.
I played.
Jonathan went down like a mortgage.
I was actually, being honest with you, lads, I was afraid of being called up to the Arsenal team. I played that well. That's how bad it is.
Jonathan was a very brave goalkeeper. He actually had a kebab before the game. That's how brave he was.
I was wondering why everything was going through my hands and going. It's nothing better to be insulted on your own show. I have to say, it's what I look forward to week on week.
Did expect sheesh the crowd, eh? Sheesh the crowd. Sorry, that joke's coming out, mate. Sorry.
I hope Daddy Ozzy's proud of you on this.
Yeah, he'll be proud of these jokes, I'll tell you.
No, but no, I have to say we're back to 8 points cleared again, where we were a few weeks ago before the before the start of February, wasn't it? So we're back in that position, and hopefully we can hold it now. You know, we're playing week to week now. We're in the Leicester City position of games week to week, 7 days. You know, and I think that would be a big that'd be a big plus for us.
Yeah,
but April's a big month. I think every fixture, being honest, now to the end of the season, you can't really call it now, you know, because every team's going to be out to put one over on us, you know, when you're top of the league, and everyone has something to fight for who we're playing. So it's an exciting end of season. I was watching match today too as well, and I was quite liked how confident and how well Bukayo Saka comes out.
Yeah.
Interviews. He, for a young lad, he comes out so mature, and he just loves the club, doesn't he? You know, like speaking to Martin Keown.
Well, can I say this here? Anybody who didn't get the Sunday Times yesterday, try and get a back copy of it. There was a brilliant article on Bukayo Saka in the Sunday Times yesterday.
Was there? Yeah.
No, it's really, really insightful into his youth, his father, and how everybody just loves him. Gareth Southgate loves him. Yeah. Everybody just loves him. You know, it's a really, really good article. So anybody who hasn't seen the Sunday Times, listeners, go have a look at it. You know, it's really good. You know,
there's one thing to be said about our youth policy, right? Because I was talking about this on Thursday night with another chap. But that Ethan Noir has been linked with Man City.
Yeah,
Chelsea are after him, right? Yeah. And he was saying, well, he's going to go now, is it? I said, well, why would he? Why would he go? If he looks at Arsenal's youth, and now we brought someone like Saka through, and all the other young players we brought through, you've only got to look at like people like Amari Hutchinson, who's gone to Chelsea. He's going to sit in the under 20. He's going to sit in the under 23s because they've already recruited to £100 million plus more, nearly £100 million plus players in his position. He's got no chance getting in that side now. Absolutely no chance. And he'll probably rot for 5 years in the under 20.
He'd end up playing with Watford.
Yeah, or he'll go on loan somewhere, won't he? But and it's, you know, I was thinking that, and I'm hating the fact that Man City and Chelsea are now sort of raiding our, doing a bit of what we do to Brighton, looking at our players and trying to take them, isn't it? But I don't know. I just think,
Carl, that just means that we're doing things better than they are.
Yeah. 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
If you want to play, if you're good enough to play and you're a young lad, just stay at Arsenal, don't you?
And by the way,
I suppose you could even look at the players across that are out on loan. Like, I mean, I think a good player for next season that could easily slot in is Balogun. Like, I think he
could easily slot in. He's going to be a worldie in.
Yeah, I never saw that in him, but 100%. Yeah,
you never saw it in him.
Well, we didn't get a chance really to play, did he? In the first team, you know.
He's only a boy.
He could have. He didn't push himself, to be fair, but he learned quickly. And
He's 21 years of age.
he wasn't like me. He wasn't like me, and I pushed myself. And
Okay. No, okay. So he's not Vlahovic, is what you're saying.
He can't down 10 points on a Saturday night, is what I'm saying.
Jonathan, he was lacking.
You know what, right?
Before the match.
Johnny.
Jonathan wanted us to spend 70 million on Vlahovic. Yeah.
Look, let me put a scenario in here, right? If he won an Arsenal player now and he's doing what he's doing in France and we signed him for 100 million, we'd be talking about, wouldn't we? You know, this is...
No, Karen, it's worse than that. If we'd have bid 95 million and Chelsea got him for 100 million, they'd be all moaning.
It would be. But it's true, though, isn't it?
Balogun will be in our first team next season. Trust me.
Yeah.
Is he top scorer in France, lads? I think he is, isn't he?
I think he is. I don't.
Yeah, which is quite.
It doesn't matter about being top scorer.
No, but I'm saying is like for a breakthrough season, really, you know, it's incredible.
We sent him on loan because we want him to be our player. That's why we put him on a 4-year contract.
Yeah.
He's our player. You know.
In terms of going back, lads, to EAMONN in particular, Bukayo Saka, 10 goals and 10 assists now in a season. He's the first Premier League player to do it. So at that age, do you see glimpses of David Rocastle in him? No. Oh
yeah, no. I'm going to go better than that. I see glimpses of George Best in him. He's better than David Rocastle. He's better than David Rocastle. And David Rocastle was fantastic.
Yeah.
I've said, when I watch this guy live, as I do every second or third week, right? The stadium comes to a hum every time he gets the ball. And that tells me something. This guy is a worldie.
Yeah.
David Rocastle was a GOONER legend. But I don't think he was a worldie. I think he was brilliant. This guy is a worldie. He's different gravy. He is different gravy.
Yeah.
Did you ever see David Rocastle live, EAMONN?
Yeah, I did, yeah. David Rocastle was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka is a worldie. Different gravy. And okay, Rocky fans are gonna crease me with sentimentality and all that. I'm saying David Rocastle, absolutely fantastic player. One of our greats. This guy is different gravy. This guy is up there with Bergkamp and on night.
Yeah,
that's a big call. Yeah, it's a big call.
I think right.
Do you remember OZZY? You remember Rocky OZZY? Sorry, do you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And do you see any comparisons between the two? In terms of pace wise.
Yeah, Rocky was great. Rocky would like EAMONN's not saying it's about, EAMONN's saying he was a class player, yeah. But I think Saka, he's got that something special that takes him above into the elite. Because you can't put people in the elite category, as much as we're talking. Yeah, we're talking the sort of big world class players, and I think he's up there. Yeah,
that's an incredible thing to say, though, isn't it? About him, like in such a short space of time to have him.
You know what, right? I'll tell you, this was summed up right on Thursday night when Saka came on as sub, and he went over to take. He went over to the wing where the Sporting fans were. They clapped him. They clapped him. They didn't abuse him. They clapped him. That says a lot about a player, right? They say that famous song, "You only come to see the Arsenal," but honestly, they clapped him when he came on.
Yeah,
that's unknown, isn't it?
Yeah, from opposition fans. Yeah, it's an incredible accolade.
I can't believe it.
But he's so humble, isn't he? Like he's so talented, but he's kept his feet on the ground, hasn't he? Like he doesn't get too far ahead of himself.
He signed his contract, isn't it? But
no, just say. That's what the whole Sunday Times article was about. How humble he is and how humble his family is and his upbringing. And any Gooner, get the Sunday Times from yesterday and read it. You know.
Yeah. I'll have to get it from somewhere, Eamon. Yeah.
I think as humble as he is as well, you mentioned it, Jonathan, as well. I watched Match of the Day too, and seeing him talk after the game, and I love, everyone can love how humble he is and the skill that he has, but you can see how much drive he has as well. Yeah. And I think that just shows how he's such a fantastic player. It's just anyone can have the mindset, but he has the skills to match the mindset as well. And I think that's just what makes him a world-class player, is that he's not a player that's going to settle for anything other than top class. Like, he's not going to settle for second best. He wants to be the best of everything he can do. And I think that's players that we've lacked for a long time. And I think it's great to see that.
Absolutely. And I'll just give you a bit of insight into the article. Steve Morrow was talking about him. Right? Steve Morrow was an underage coach at the Arsenal, and he said he was a left full back, and they said that he didn't do jinking runs or whatever. It's just his power came through, but his problem was he'd no right foot. He'd no right foot, and then all of a sudden, within about 6 weeks, he had a dagger of a right foot. You know?
I wouldn't say he had a right shoulder neither after what Adam's done.
I had to smile when you said Steve Morrow.
I mean, we can all laugh and joke. I'm trying to give the viewers a bit of a serious insight into the game here, John.
Well, excuse me, Eamon.
I'm saying, but Bukayo Saka had no right foot. No right foot. If you look at the goal he scored against Leeds, look at the one he whacked in the other day. You know,
we need
this guy. He's driven.
Is he?
And he's driven for the Arsenal. And we should.
Would you say?
And by the way, I have to give credit to one big fucking German. Our Highland Academy, since he took over, is looking like a serious thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
we're mentioning Saka here, and like we're saying about Rocastle, and like, is he like Henry, or is he in that kind of thing? I suppose. Look, this Arsenal team is being compared to, like, I suppose, are being put up against the benchmark of the Invincibles of 2003, 2004. Do you think Saka would get into that team back then? Like,
yes,
100%.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, he's that good.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely agree.
And to be honest, I think there's a lot of players in this 11 in as well that will get into that Invincible team now as well.
Is it?
The current crop of players, they'd be getting in that Invincible team from 03-04.
Different eras. It's hard to come, to talk about that. But would Bukayo Saka get into it? Yes.
They're as good as them, like in terms of teamwork and all. There's no big personalities. That's what I like about this team at the moment. It's a collective effort. I
think they're all big personalities. They're all captains. They're all. I think
they're all very humble, though, aren't you? Like, they're steady. They've their feet on the ground. You know.
I get what you're saying.
Like, there's no, even Granit Xhaka is kind of, he's steadied himself now. Where he doesn't go into reckless tackles anymore, or he's a different player now this season completely. As Eamon said, you were at the match when he was giving off to the fans. Now he's being applaud and he's his own chant, where you can come from with a bit of heart and just steady yourself and
a bit of trust from your manager.
Well. Big name manager there, Jonathan. Big name manager.
I have to say now,
as I've said before,
I have to say, and I don't want to exclude Card from the conversation.
He needs to win the big trophies.
Jonathan, I have to say, and I don't want to exclude Card from the conversation. This Arsenal team reminds me of the Dublin team under Jim Gavin in GA. Humble, grounded. They know what they're doing. Unity of purpose, singularity of purpose. They'll make mistakes along the way, sure they will. And if they come up short, we'll all forgive them. But by God, as Carl said earlier, they have given us some excitement. They have enriched our lives. This team has enriched our lives.
From what we saw last season, 100%, haven't they? You know, it's sort of been a remarkable transformation in less than the season. You know, from 13 defeats last season, was it?
Something like that, yeah.
It's just incredible. It really is.
But we still have the potential for 13. We've only 3 and we've 10 games to go, so we can still get 13.
EAMONN, do not put a sock in it. Yeah, no, look, long may it continue. After it's just a bit of a pity the international breaks come up, but look, it might be much needed.
I honestly think the international break is coming at the best time for us, personally.
I don't know, when you're in this moment, in this sort of momentum in the league, yeah, it's hard. It's 50-50, isn't it? You know,
10 games left. They got 1 slog to go now, and they're gonna have. But those are rested, you know.
Man City's don't to win the league, I know, but anyway, we'll enjoy the ride as long as it's there. I suppose briefly, lads, with no show next week, how do you see the Leeds United game going? I'll start for you, Eamon.
Oh, it's after the international break. Let's not worry about that now. Let's not worry about that now. We've got a couple of weeks to draw a breath. Very quickly, Leeds could beat Brazil or Argentina, and they could also lose it. And they could also lose to Scunthorpe. They're bonkers.
Yeah,
Leeds are bonkers. I watched the Wolves Leeds game the other day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And honest to God, it could have been 7-5 in the fucking 5th set.
Yeah.
It was just mad, right? So you wouldn't take Leeds for granted. And by the way, we played them at home last year. I was at the game.
Yeah.
And we went 2-0. The man sent off. And they tortured us for the rest of the game.
Yeah, did.
They are mad. So the trick is what the Arsenal have been doing. Take every game in a compartment and deal with it. Yeah. That's what we did yesterday. That's why we're 8 points there. And if we continue to do that, do you know what? Something serious could happen.
Yeah, it's just an incredible. You could see Martin Keown yesterday as well on a match day. The excitement, you know, like it's very rare I ever see him getting excited. But the realization's kicking in that we're going to win the league.
No, stop.
Ozzy,
Jonathan, I'm gonna say to the viewers, you're not saying that in the podcast. There's a double standard here, you know.
What goes on, mate. As I said, what goes on in the podcast group stays in the podcast.
I think we need a green screen and just show all his text messages in the corner.
There'll be a montage.
I'll tell you what, lads, his double standards are so frustrating.
I've already got.
Ian's going to come out with a ridiculous prediction of 5-0, and again, he'd have to pay for his mistakes.
At least I did. I'm a man of my word. Where's your one?
I'm having a bad month financially, okay? It was a bad week at Cheltenham. Ozzy, since Daddy Ozzy's listening, doing proud, how do you see the game going on April Fool's Day?
It depends what Leeds turn up, really, isn't it? It really is. Like I was saying, they're up and down. I'm gonna go in ode to Ian. I'm gonna go for a 3-0 Arsenal win.
That's a big donation to the cause as well.
We just want to classify. I'm not paying Ozzy's donation if he gets that wrong.
You know what? It's an international break. It's too far in for me to think about. I'm just going to go for a 3-0. I'll put a bet on now so I can get it out of the way. But look, it's a big game. I think our home games. We know which away games are going to be. I don't think the City. I think I'm not looking too far ahead. I'm sorry, Eamon, for this. I know you don't like doing it, but this league's going to be won at Anfield, at the Olympic Stadium, and Newcastle for me. The Man City games.
Do you think
Yeah,
Anfield, does he, even with the gap we have? Do you not think we can
I
afford?
don't get too far ahead of it, but I look at the
Yeah.
away games we've got: Liverpool, West Ham, and Newcastle. They're the ones. If we win, they're the ones we need to win. I think the Man City game is 50-50, but I think if we do well in them 3 games, I think we've got a very, very good chance. But I think that's where it will be won or lost in those 3 games. In person, looking at the fixture list, but the home games, look, we still got to go there, still got to win them. Going back to Leeds, I think we'll win. I do think we'll win, and I think we'll win comfortably in that one because I think it'll be straight after the break. It's just the next 2 after that are massive. So let's hope we don't pick any injuries up in international break. Let's hope Bukayo Saka gets a bit of a rest, which is unlikely to happen. I see Rashford's picked up a knock. I don't know if you've seen that. Pulled out the squad today.
I wish Saka does the same.
Yeah. Every time it happens with one of our players. But it's 3-0. That's what I'm going to say.
I'll go with 2-1 like last May, I think it was. I think with Leeds fighting for their lives and they're playing okay under Grassy as well. I go with 2-1. Because after the international break can be, it's always hit and miss the first game back. Ian, how do you see the game going on April? You're at that game, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to be at that game, and as I said, stand by my ground. I'm not making any score prediction whatsoever. What I will say is, any time that I've gone to watch Arsenal in the Emirates, they've always won. So I'm hoping that tradition keep going on. What I will say is, look, I feel like Eamon's inside my head now at this stage. But we take it game by game, and I think, look, the most important thing is we just get on with it, and we do our own job. Look, if other results go in our favour, it's a bonus. But look, we just take it game by game. But at the end of the day, like, you can focus on Liverpool, you can focus on Newcastle. That's 3-4 games away. And if you focus too much on those games, you could end up dropping the games that are in front of you. So just have to be.
What do you really think, Ian? What do you really think, mate?
As I say, they'll have it as a chance. This lad has a chance. Just get on with it.
It's got in your head. It's got in your head, Ian.
That lad has a chance.
I'll tell you one thing. If David O'Leary had a stake in this show and that, I think he'd be making a fortune like that. No, I'm
meeting him for a point later on.
I'd like to know what Ian's prediction is so I can get the donation now. No, I think we all agree we're going for a home win, and once again,
I'm going for a home win, but I'm going for 7-6 in the final set.
God.
Jonathan, I'm going to order you a top saying Arteta's a big name manager for when we win the league.
Take that out of the host.
I have to say, I never such a thing. I won't be doing a rant like Conte, that's for sure.
I'm still waiting for the teacher saying, let's get on with it.
Let's get on with it, big name manager at the back.
Imagine in mid-rant, had Conte gone, blah, 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 blah. Get on with it. It would have been hilarious,
I have to say,
kind of a Conte O'Leary job,
It's very refreshing to see him coming out and naming the players, because it's always on the manager or the coaching staff, and it's great to see something like, it probably will cost him his job, but it has to be said. And, the players do have to stand up and look at themselves, but it's great to see them in decline as well. Champions League, you're having a laugh. Fucking love it.
I love seeing Conte flying home on a Ryanair flight. Thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it's great to see them be managed this come April 1st. Golden player of the month, lads. We start with goal of the month. Mine will be has to go to Reece Nelson, just because it was a belter and just because the point of the game it was in. What a boy. Ozzy, your goal of the month?
Oh, it's got to be Reece Nelson. I know Ian was there as well. You can't.
Stop.
Ozzy didn't even make a donation that day, and he's. Yeah, it was a cracking strike. Yeah, it was just the way the stadium erupted was like we won the league. Yeah,
It was one of them moments, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have loved him to be there because it's one of them moments you'll never forget. You know, Mickey Thomas. It's up for grabs now. Ian, your goal of the month.
Oh, please. I have to say Reece Nelson. Like, I was there with OZZY. Eamon was there as well. And my God, I've never had so many random people jump on me, hug me, God knows what. It was like a love fest. Like, I genuinely can't even remember seeing the ball hit the net. It was absolutely surreal. So I have to give it to Reece Nelson.
Yeah, take it, bro. Take it, bro, son. Eamon, goal of the month for March.
Charlie George.
You have to be different. You just have to be different.
Goal of the month for me was actually the second goal against Fulham. When Saliba hit that ball off his left foot from the right wing and set up a move that just carved him apart.
Yeah.
And ended up with Martinelli's header. That's goal of the month for me. It was a brilliant team.
That was a good one too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know the Reece Nelson goal caused the most excitement, but if you want to watch a goal, how it should be scored playing football against a team trying to press you, that was the goal. That was the goal. You know?
Yeah. I won't have to. There was another goal that was in there for me. That's Bukayo Saka against Everton. That one where he smashed it past Jordan Pickford, absolutely. But there's so many good goals in that month just for team play alone as well. So 14 goals. It was a tough one this month, I have to say, considering February was only about 4 goals. We were spoiled for choice. Player of the month for me would probably have to go to Leandro Trossard, just because of his assists and for staying in the team ahead of Jesus. And I think Gabriel Jesus knows he's quite a hell of a job to get back in there. As well, the hat-trick of assists against Fulham as well. So I'm going to give it to Trossard. I think he's been a brilliant signing since he's come from Brighton. So he's my player of the month. OZZY?
I'm going to go for Odegaard. I think he's been consistent this month. He's been a captain. He's been brilliant. Yeah. His link play. And I think a lot of the sort of, similar to Trossard, a lot of our goals have come from him. Slicing up the defence. So yeah, Martin Odegaard for me.
Ian, your player of the month?
I'm gonna go a bit different. Like, I think there's so many players that could deserve it, to be honest. But I'm actually gonna give it to Xhaka. I think Xhaka has been immense. I think we've all kind of said it, the way he's turned around from where he's been to up to now. But I think what he does and just the way he gels the midfield so well, I think I have to give it to him, because like there's been a lot of tough matches, especially like the games against Bournemouth and the games against Palace as well, and he's just been immense. I think he really has. He brings a lot to the team, more so now than he ever did. So I think for me, I'd give it to Xhaka.
Eamon, player of the month?
Peter Story there. What month are we talking about? I'm talking about April '73. Player of the month for me is Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah.
Because he has really stepped up and driven us forward. I know Bukayo Saka is a worldly. Martinelli's probably, you're looking at the next level with the potential to be a worldly. But my God, he has stepped up for us. I'm going to give it to Martinelli all day long.
Yeah, it's great to see so many different choices. It shows how well the players have played month to month. Yeah, and that's been happening with our player and goal of the month each time now. Yeah, so it's great to see. With it being the international break now, I'm going to ask each one of you one game, lads, that has summed up the season so far. OZZY, start with you. That's been the standout match.
Blimey, there's so many to think of. You put me on the spot. I'm going to say Bournemouth, because I know so recently, but look, we were 2-0 down. We come from behind. We showed character, and we've done that all season. When we've lost, we've bounced back. When we're down, we come back. Yeah, it's going to be that. It's the most obvious one that sticks in my head. I'll probably kick myself for shouting that one. But, for me, that shows everything, what his team's about, what they've learned, and also the excitement they've given us all season, which I'll forever remember this season, regardless of what happens, like we said earlier.
Yeah, it's great to hear, OZZY. I'd probably give it to the 3-2 home win over United, just because Nketiah in the last few moments. But I think that's another game, along with the Bournemouth game, that could, if we go on to win the league, be the one, to find a moment, I think. Ian, one game that sums up the season so far for you?
I'm actually going to be a bit unorthodox here. Sorry, Ian.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, go on. I mean, you go ahead.
Sorry, I misheard you, John.
Sorry, Eamon. Yeah, you go ahead. Sorry, Eamon. Go ahead. Go ahead, Eamon.
Okay, are you
You're
still
on
there?
it. You're on it. Don't
Yeah.
get stage.
It's just like a chair. It's like a chair.
It's not a
yeah.
donation, Ian. It's only a
yeah, no, I think for me, like, there's so many games you can give it to, but I think, look, just personally for being at the game and just actually seeing the way the whole game went, I have to say Arsenal and Bournemouth being that game, because look, I mean, you look at Bournemouth against Liverpool, you look at the games that they can do against teams, like it just goes to show what we did in that particular game. Like, when you're playing teams at the bottom of the table and they're not easy to score against. I think to just the way they came back, the fight that showed, and just the drive, like the drive to win, like it felt like just a statement win. To be honest, I think like it gave me vibes back to when we played Leicester in the Premier League and Welbeck scored in the last minute. And unfortunately, it wasn't our year that year, but like you just got that vibe that it was such an important goal. So I think for me, I'd have to say that game was the game of the season so far.
Eamon, over to you.
Well, game of the season. They're all games of the season, but for me, the most instructive game was Leicester away, and I was there. And I'll tell you why. They have a go at everybody at their place. They never had a go at us because they were afraid of us, and that shows where we are on the map.
Yeah.
So for me, the Leicester game, I was expected to be under pressure from them. And they never laid a glove on us because they were afraid. And that shows where we've come.
Yeah.
So to me, the most instructive game and the most important game, like, there's a reason why we've won 11 or 12 away games. That's it. You know?
Yeah, that is a good shout, actually. Yeah, it was a very tight game, that one. And
no, it wasn't tight, Jonathan. No, we won it 1-0. No, they never crossed the halfway line.
It took a moment of brilliance, didn't it, from Martinelli as well for that goal. It was a really good finish.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is they never crossed the halfway line. They were afraid of us. It just shows you where we've come from, Leicester would have beaten us 2 seasons ago. Do you know? Yeah,
we have come so far under Arteta, it has to be said, yeah. And for a small name manager that's becoming a big name manager. Being with no show next week, March 31st, marks the 22nd anniversary of David Rocastle, who sadly passed away in 2001. That day, I think we played Spurs that day at Highbury. Robert Perez scored, wearing the number 7 jersey, and Thierry Henry. So it was quite poignant that Robert Perez would score on the day. Any thoughts, lads, on David Rocastle being his anniversary? Eamon?
Any thoughts on David Rocastle?
Yeah.
No. Legend.
Yeah.
Gentleman. Scholar. Representative of the club. What more do you want?
Yeah.
An absolute legend.
Yeah, his status should never be forgotten. Yeah, no. I think he deserves a statue at the Emirates.
Remember who you are, where you came from,
and
what you represent.
Hear, Eamon. Well said. Ozzy, any thoughts on David Rocastle?
He's a player I watched growing up. Yeah, so of course I love him. You know, along with Righty and everyone from back that day. You know, it's just he's a legend, club legend, and he's everything about what it means to play for the Arsenal. You know, when Saka got that number 7 shirt, he knew exactly what that meant. You know, so yeah, club legend. Yeah. What else can you say? Other than there's a really good documentary on BT Sport, Rocky and Righty.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic watch. So if you want to learn about him and you don't know about him, too young or whatever, but watch that because that was a good that you know, that sums him up for me watching that. So
yeah, Ian, thoughts on David Rocastle?
Like, to be fair, like, I mean, I wouldn't have the knowledge the lads would have, to be fair, like, of him. I have seen all, like, kind of matches back in his time, and he was a fantastic player, an absolute club legend. I think he was one of those players that, from what I can see from bits I've seen, he was just a player that couldn't do anything wrong. And I think it was a lot, I suppose, more, I would like to say it was nearly more physical back then than it nearly is now sometimes. I think he was just a fantastic player. I think the way he was able to move the ball and just gel so well, I think he was just a fantastic player. And I think it's, when you see that, as I suppose we were mentioning the Saka now as well, I think I can understand what the thrill he must have brought back then when I see Saka now, and I see how much Saka means to us and the excitement you get when he's on the ball. Like, I can kind of understand that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I'm going to say something. Alan Smith, another Arsenal legend, he always said about David Rocastle, right? Not only was he a great player, but he was hard as nails. He was hard. You see, that's the thing about Rocky. He was hard as nails, right? And I think there's 4 number 7s at the Arsenal for me. Bukayo Saka, Robert Perez, David Rocastle, and Liam. And my God, that's some lineup. That's some lineup of number 7s.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we've been blessed with number 7s, haven't we, over the years?
Absolutely.
Yeah. David Dean really summed it up as well. Chairman aren't meant to have favourites, but Rocky was one of mine. That says it all, doesn't it? Yeah. Aside from a player, he was a great person, and such a loss to obviously his family and to the footballing family, really, because anyone that passes, really, regardless of who they play for, it's a sad loss to.
But Jonathan Arst and his family, he's never lost.
No,
the reason why we're having this conversation is David Rocastle is never lost.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers to everyone associated with David Rocastle. March the 31st is his 27th anniversary.
I'm just hoping they do something a game against Leeds. Actually looking at that, because he's a Leeds player as well, wasn't he? So
yeah,
I hope they do something on that.
Yeah, they normally do, don't they? The front cover is normally dedicated to him, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed they do the right thing. I'd expect us to, but yeah.
It'd be great to see a statue maybe down through the years for him as well. I think he deserves it, to be honest. That's just my opinion on it. Eamon's going to sing us out like he did on Thursday. We're going to do this at the end of every show. So before he does, catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club bar is the River Bar. It's all yours, Eamon. Sing us out.
We won the league in Anfield. We won it at the Lane. Stamford Bridge, Old Trafford. No one can say the same. Mikel Arteta, we're Arsenal true and true.
Where do we sing it?
We sing it on the North Bank.
And where else?
And in the talking too. Ole, ole, ole. Go on there, Arsenal.
Come on, Gareth.
Just get on with it.
Put the fuck in it, Ivan.
None of this singing nonsense. Just get on with it. Next game, yeah.
We'll be doing that chant every week till the end of the season. So, it's well worth to stick around listening to the end of the show for that in itself. We'll be back Monday, April the 3rd, as it's in the international break. So until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget the quiz. Don't forget the quiz.
Quiz is on Friday the 24th for ourselves.
Minus one question.
when is he paying his donation? Until then, lads, have a great week. And we'll see you again on April Fool's Day, Saturday for April 4th. See you again, lads.
Take
Good
it
luck.
easy. Have a good
Cheers, lads.